Now, this next portion in the video is something that a lot of people probably wouldn't expect to be here, but there's going to be a whole segment where I talk about color swaps. And the reason is because color swaps are one of the most modded things in all of Smash Ultimate, and it's partly because of how some of these characters have really good color/costume swaps that, like, sparked an idea in so many people's minds that making, like, these insane references from across specific characters' video game franchise library's history, and it begs the question on why Nintendo slacked off, as you'd put it, on so many of them, because, like, take Mario, for example. Mario is one of them that's, like, split 50-50, where half of them are, like, really good, and the other half are, like, why? Like, for instance, the base Mario is base Mario, shouldn't have to explain it. The next one is, like, this red, white, and blue American palette for Mario, and while it looks like it could be based off 4th of July, it's not. It's based off his golf uniform from Mario Golf, except here's where it's like, really? Because they made it Mario Golf, and while that's a cool color swap or costume swap, whatever you want to call it, instead of literally making it Golf Mario, they just took base Mario and just recolored it. I get it, going out and, like, doing unnecessary designing, but it's because they have literal Builder Mario in the palette swaps for Mario, so they literally made a whole new texture design for Builder Mario, but they didn't go all out to make the Golf Mario one. Because that's basically the same thing if the Builder Mario were to be just yellow and red version of just regular Mario. But no, they actually went all out and made a Builder Mario. The rest of the Mario color swaps are pretty basic, bland, or just suck, honestly, because the referencing for them is just kind of lame. Like, the green one's literally based off some Japanese box art from almost 40 years ago. Like, really? That couldn't have been literally anything else? Like, you gotta be kidding me right now. But it's stuff like that, because Mario's not the only one who has some stupid color swaps. Take Luigi as another one. Luigi doesn't really have any. They're all literally just color swaps. They just change the color palette. And while that's fine, there is one that is based on Builder Luigi, but instead of being like Builder Mario, where they literally put Builder Mario in the game, they just made it a yellow and green version of regular Luigi for some reason. It's like, why go all out to make Builder Mario and then have a color swap for Luigi that represents Builder Luigi, but not make Builder Luigi? Like, it makes no sense. So yeah, there's some inconsistencies there. Another character who has very notable color/costume swaps would be Link, because Link's costume swaps do coordinate back and forth between his, like, Breath of the Wild tunic design and then his generic green tunic design. The problem with this, though, is that pretty much all of them are from Breath of the Wild, so even though his green tunic design some people could interpret it as just being based off his original design from the very first Legend of Zelda, at the end of the day, it's literally one of the tunics you can get in Breath of the Wild, so therefore, this is all kind of unoriginal by being only from one game when they could have easily just made every single one being from a different game. I mean, they have one that is supposed to reference Link's old design from before Breath of the Wild, but at that point, why not just bring back Link's old design from previous Smash games and previous Zelda games? Because, like, why? That doesn't make any sense. They literally had that Link design before. I don't think it would have been so hard to port it into Smash Ultimate. And, like, same thing goes for Fierce Deity Link. Was once in Smash as, like, one of the best color swaps in all of Smash, and then they changed it to, like, this weird Breath of the Wild hybrid mix that doesn't exist, because, like, you can tell it's, like, obviously supposed to be Fierce Deity Link, but that's not what Fierce Deity Link looks like, because they had to, like, make it mixed with this Breath of the Wild version, and it's like, why? I don't get it. Same thing goes for a couple of the other ones. I mean, the Hylian tunic one is probably one of the only ones that's literally Breath of the Wild. The only difference is that the shield is not actually red, never was, whatever. One of Link's other pretty basic ones is the Skyward Sword based one from the very beginning of Skyward Sword, and honestly, it's just the exact same thing with the Fierce Deity Link and the one that's loosely based off Twilight Princess Link. It's like, why couldn't they just rip the Skyward Sword Link straight out of Skyward Sword and put it in there? Instead, they had to, like, make this stuff up. They just changed the color palette. It seems like they were being really cheap on the color swaps, I will say. Dark Link is probably one of the worst ones, because even in Breath of the Wild, this is not what Dark Link looks like. He actually has the Ocarina of Time hairstyle, so it's like, really, they couldn't just do that. I mean, come on. It's not that terrible, though. They are good color swaps. Like, at least they're not ugly color schemes or whatever. And then the one that's probably the most annoying one would be the Royal Guard uniform from Breath of the Wild, because, like, same thing. They just changed the color palette, being kind of lazy on that one. Just like Link, Samus has the same issue with having, like, all of her suits based off of actual Metroid games, and the problem with that is none of them are actually the suit from that Metroid game. They're literally every single one is just a change in the color of the original color swap. You couldn't just easily port the original design straight out of whatever game it's from. I mean, that couldn't be that hard, but like at the same time I get it. And this goes for a lot of other characters in the game. I mean, Yoshi has an issue that's actually kind of interesting, because Yoshi's Woolly World is one of the most popular games in the Yoshi series, at least that's what I'm aware of, and that would have made the most sense to be like the one Yoshi color swap that is not just another color swap version of Yoshi. But no, they didn't pick that one. They picked Crafted World Yoshi because they were trying to, again, just like Roy, they were trying to promote the Yoshi's Crafted World on the Switch before it came out. So it's like, really, guys? They should have just put Woolly World version of Yoshi as the last color swap for Yoshi, not one that's from a game that hadn't even released yet. It's like, come on, guys, really? Gosh, I hate it when they just use Smash as a billboard ad. Other characters like Kirby's just like Yoshi, where like his color swaps basically make sense because literally in-game, in-universe, there's different versions of said Kirby or Yoshi, and they are quite literally just different colored versions of that character. So there's really no point in going super in-depth with theirs. I already mentioned Fox, I don't have to talk about it. Now, for some reason, a lot of the characters who have like a lot of the best color swaps are actually third-party characters. Like Solid Snake, for instance, like a lot of his color swaps, they have the same issue with like Link's, where they're based off of specific designs from other games, but for some reason, instead of just taking that design straight out of the game, they just changed the color palette off the first color swap, and it's like, come on, really? Come on, you couldn't just plop like a poorly made PlayStation 1 graphics Solid Snake and Smash. I mean, come on, that's not that hard. Whatever. But like, I like how his color swaps actually reference actual designs from past Metal Gear games. Like, I hate it when there's a color swap that like doesn't represent anything, because then it just truly shows that they didn't care and or just didn't put as much effort into them. I mean, like, one of the worst ones is Sonic, because Sonic's color swaps are all basically just a different shade of blue plus black for no reason at all. I mean, it's quite stupid actually, because Sonic seems like he'd have such obvious color swaps, right? He should have had an orange and red color swap for Tails. He should have had a red and green one for Knuckles. He should have had a pink and red one for Amy. He should have had a black and red one for Shadow. He should have just had literally any other Sonic character to be referenced. Like, no, instead he gets these boring, basic, different versions of blue as literally every single color swap except the black one. Like, really? Really? We couldn't have gotten... This is something I didn't even touch on when I was talking about Sonic's representation in Smash. Like, this is pathetic. It's like, I seriously think that Nintendo still has something against Sega. They couldn't have seriously botched up the Sonic representation, and on top of that, screwed over Sonic's color swaps. It's like, really? I really don't get it, because it's not that Sonic, it's like Sonic has such terrible color swaps, but then watch me go over to like, say Sora, because Sora, still being a third-party character from a third-party company that has almost nothing to do with Nintendo, by the way, literally has his default outfit from the first Kingdom Hearts, the second Kingdom Hearts, the third Kingdom Hearts, and then he has his outfit from Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, he has his Timeless River outfit from Kingdom Hearts 2, he has his Valor form from Kingdom Hearts 2, and he has his Wisdom form from Kingdom Hearts 2, and then he has his quote-unquote ultimate version from Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, obviously, they just gave him the same head design on all of them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still better than Link, because at least they changed his outfit and didn't just make a color scheme over his first outfit. The inconsistencies with the color swaps is kind of pathetic, honestly, and it almost seems like they were purposely doing doing it with the DLC characters, because like if I were to go over to Kazuya, for example, all of his color swaps are like, well, he has the same issue with Link, where his first two were two different costumes, and then they just went back and forth by changing the color palette instead of just coming up with new designs. I mean, Tekken has so much potential with the color swaps because of the fact that there's many different outfits that the Tekken characters can wear, because of like the basic make your own character type thing in pretty much every Tekken game since I think Tekken 6, and it's just kind of lame that they only went with Tekken 7 version of Kazuya's suit, because like Kazuya is pretty much well known at this point to always wear like some kind of suit with a tie or whatever, but it's always different, and like, I mean, drastically different. And the fact that his color palette is pretty lame. I mean, the gold version of Kazuya is about the only color swap that, other than the first two, that's like actually exists in Tekken 7, that you don't actually have to force make it, because technically you can make all of these color swaps in Tekken 7, but the thing is, you basically have to just literally change the color palette of a costume that's already in Tekken, whereas the gold one literally exists as a costume. It's just a gold version of his suit. Like, that one actually does exist. And then there's a couple other third-party characters who actually get multiple different characters as color swaps. For example, we have Hero, who has pretty much 4 of his color swaps, so literally half of them are just a different version of Hero from different games, and then the other half is just changing the color palette of one of the heroes. Same thing goes for Steve. Steve, it's like half his color swaps are a different character from Minecraft. You have Steve, Alex, Zombie, and Enderman, but for some reason, unlike Hero, where they quite literally just duplicated every single one, has the original plus 1 color swap for the 4 of them, instead, Zombie and Enderman don't get any color swaps, and Steve and Alex both get 3. It's like, wait, what? That's okay, because Zombie and Enderman, there's not much to work with anyway, and the fact that we even got them as color swaps in the first place is already pretty surprising. So the fact that they're even in the game as color swaps, and I mean with the Smash announcer literally saying like Zombie or Enderman, because sometimes you'll have characters that are loosely referenced as color swaps. Like, for instance, they're not actually said in-game. Take Dark Link, for instance. Dark Link is technically a separate character in the Zelda universe, or at least like a doppelganger version. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's one of those things, it should say Dark Link separately, Dark Link or something, because they say Dark Pit, they say Dark Samus. Why couldn't you just put the Dark in front of Dark Link on the one color swap over Link? I don't think that would have been that hard. Oh yeah, and Sonic is not the only one who has just awful color swaps. For some reason, probably the 2 most famous third-party characters in Smash have the worst color swaps. I already mentioned one was Sonic, and the other one is Pac-Man. Now, this seems silly, right? Because I already mentioned how they don't have the Pac-Man maze in Smash. So on top of that, Pac-Man has terrible color swap. It's even worse than Sonic, because at least Sonic, they decided to change the like shade of blue, so at least he's a different color. Pac-Man, he's quite literally the exact same thing, but they just added these little feather and like glove sleeve things on him, and then changed that back and forth. Like, what? You couldn't just change the color? Who allowed this? This is unacceptable. This is ridiculous. He has the worst color swaps in the entire game. Literally, before Pac-Man was added to Smash, I didn't think it was possible to have color swaps worse than Sonic, but this is just sad. This is just sad on a whole new level. So yeah, the color swaps, it's like some of these characters have really cool color swaps, and some of them have really bad color swaps, but the majority of the characters in Smash quite literally only have the original design, and then the other 7 are just changing the color of that original design. That's what I was mentioning way back at the beginning of this short little rant on the color swaps, is that color swaps are literally one of the top most modded things in all of Smash. Number 1 would be characters. Obviously, people modding their character they wanted in Smash that didn't make it into Smash. Duh. Number 2 would be stages, because you'd want the stage to go with the said modded character you just modded in the game, right? And then the third one would be color swaps, because so many color swaps are so botched and so stupid, because either there is no referencing or the referencing is literally stupid. Of course, it's the third most modded thing in all of Smash. So it's one of those things like Smash Ultimate, while the roster itself is pretty much just like the stages where it's like really good and really bad at the same time, The color swap, sadly, I'd say it's actually over 70% terrible, and it's only bad because they introduced such cool color swaps. It's like, why couldn't you do that with every single character? Some of them I'll give you a pass, like there's nothing to work with Duck Hunt, whereas other characters like Link, it's like, really? You couldn't put as much effort into Link as you did with Sora? Like, really? It's annoying, I will say. So yeah, the color swaps as a whole, it's annoying. That's really all it is. It's just annoying that they didn't put as much effort into it as they did with other characters. That's really all I'm saying.